Liebe Frau Kollegin Zypris,
Minister Zypris, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nigol, Mr. Amin, Mr. Picard, distinguished guests, welcome to the Federal Foreign Office and welcome to the third Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue. It's somewhat of a tradition now that we are able to welcome people from more than 90 countries. Actually, this is probably a record number of participants. We've never had so many high-ranking ministers and delegations. We feel very honored by this. And you can feel it not only here in this room, but also whenever I travel to other countries in the world and when we discuss the energy supply, we can feel that a lot is changing. We are seeing an international transition, and investment in renewable energies is now higher than investment in conventional energies, and that's a bit of a first. And something that we find very interesting is that it is not mostly industrialized countries that are expanding the share of renewable energy the most. In fact, it is developing countries and emerging economies, the ones that are at the beginning of industrialization. So something that was a bit of an odd idea in the developed world, an idea that some laughed about or used to laugh about, is now a trend for the future. And this means not only that we are able to generate energy in a more environment-friendly way, we can also do it in a decentralized, in a distributed way, and we can do it in a way that creates a great deal of jobs. In Germany alone, we have created 300,000 jobs in this new industry that is the renewable energy industry. So you can see that environmentally friendliness, the protection of our climate, and economic success go very well together. This is a development that is having a very positive impact not only on our energy supply, but also on our economy as a whole. Today, I'm not only your Minister of Economy or Energy, but today I'm here as Germany's Foreign Minister because energy policy is part of our foreign policy now. It is also because it's a question of our national security and of equity and fairness, equality and fairness. It is something that has to do a lot with stability and peace in our world. And the reasons for this are obvious. We can see that countries that are highly dependent, too dependent on commodity imports, can be put under pressure, not only economically, but also whenever there's a disruption in the supply chain because of civil war or any sort of crisis. We can also see that commodities themselves can be the object of civil war and of conflict. And we can see that climate change can exacerbate the situation in areas that are already affected by crises. Access to food is becoming more of a problem in those areas where there's little access to energy. And this means that there is greater fight for those areas of a particular country where there's still an energy supply and a food supply. Energy supply in developing countries is very much prerequisition for these countries to actually catch up economically. And this is why we need an international energy transition, not only because of the environment, because of our climate, and because of all that. We need it because it will help make the world a better and fairer place. And this is something that the international community has recognized. It has made it its goal to create a global and sustainable energy supply. This is part of the 2030 UN agenda, and of course we agreed on the COP agreement in Paris, at the Paris conference. Now it's the time to actually implement these decisions. We stand by our commitments, and we want to use our G20 presidency in Germany to actually make headway on this. Our goal is to reach a unanimous position on the part of all G20 countries so that we can help decarbonize the energy sector. And this means that we need to bring down subsidies for fossil fuels, and we need to invest in renewables. Of course, fossil fuels will continue to be important in the future because they will serve as commodities that can be used in many of our industrial sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, the international energy transition is in full swing. We are at the cusp of a new era, and for me, as a foreign policy expert and also from an economic point of view, I know that we need agreement in order to be able to actually implement the decisions made in New York and in Paris. And this also means that we need to have good institutions, such as IRENA and the International Energy Agency. We have Fatih Birol and Admin Anan here. They're the heads of these institutions. Welcome to you. Of course, policymakers can't shoulder this task on their own. We need to have a very strong dialogue between governments, investors, the energy industry, and civil society representatives. And this is what we've come to do here today. We want to shape the energy transition at a global level, and we want to have a reliable and affordable energy supply for the entire world so that we can reconcile and promote environmental goals and economic goals and equality. Thank you very much for your work and for coming here, and all the best and every success for this conference. Thank you.